right, we're gonna call this one the Muzzleloader Saga. So now that I've shot a deer with a rifle, I'm working on the triple trophy that they give out in Arkansas. It's where you kill a deer with a rifle, a muzzleloader, and then with archery equipment. Still got a little over 2.5 months for archery hunting, so I'm not as concerned about that time-wise, but this muzzleloader has always given me the most trouble as part of this. And so I hunted with it last weekend. That was the last opportunity to hunt with a modern gun around here, which you could use muzzleloader during that and it'd still count. So went to one of my bow spots and took my muzzleloader with me, and it's a property, had a lot of deer out there on camera, really just does and small bucks, but they've been very consistent all year. I just haven't hunted out there because I've been chasing bucks around, at least trying to. So I thought, well, I'll go out there and shoot a doe with my muzzleloader to get that part done. So I went out there last Sunday afternoon. The landowner's dog came with me and laid down under the tree, and I guess eventually walked off, although I didn't hear. And about a little after 4 o'clock, I just look up and there is a doe 30 yards away, and she's coming into the feeder before it goes off. And so I got my gun ready, got the camera rolling, and somehow she turned broadside. I thought the dog was still under me, but apparently it wasn't. She did everything just right, had her broadside 25 yards with a muzzleloader. I took the shot, it felt good, and she ran off. But when she ran off, I could tell something just wasn't right. And so I gave her a little bit of time and got down, and from what I can tell, it was a clean miss. I don't have a clue what happened. So I've got the gun with me today. I'm gonna take a few practice shots out here just to see if somehow the scope got bumped. I have a feeling it's still gonna be on. It's a muzzleloader, and it's for some reason my greatest challenge, getting these things to fire and then getting to hit. I can hit accurately at the target all day long, but just things go wrong when I shoot at animals with it. So we'll see. But this is the first step to make sure the scope has not been bumped and got off. Well, this doesn't really help much. Two shots. There's the first one, there's the second one. Okay, well, I'm gonna chalk it up to either I pulled the shot because I was shooting free-handed, still 25 yards away. I don't know how I could have missed free-handed with a gun like that. I don't know, it's a mystery. That's why it's a challenge for me, even though these new guns are so consistent. Okay, the saga continues. All right, here we go. December the 27th, 2023. It's day 2. Oh, there's deer tracks all over here. Sorry, I got distracted. Day 2 of the Christmas gun hunt. I'm out here back on the gas line, giving it another go. This time it's in the afternoon. Checked several cameras the past couple days, and that's when virtually all the movement has been. It's in the afternoon, so I have really high hopes about tonight. It's cold, it's windy. The wind's supposed to die down right about dark, so for Arkansas, it's about as good as it gets. It's in the low 40s. Feels like mid to upper 30s with the wind chill. So, let me get out here, get settled in the stand. And the deer is going down tonight. Just watch. All right, I'm all set up for the evening. It's nice and quiet out here, except for the wind. But I'm a fan of fairly windy days. I'm back in the stand where I killed a doe with a rifle, although it's been probably a month ago now. And kind of let this spot rest, although they've been doing their construction work around here. So there's still been some activity, but I think these deer are getting used to that. So I don't really mind it that much. I got the feeder about 60 yards out in front of me. Well, that did not quite go how I had planned or how I hoped. On the one hand, it went a whole lot better than what I hoped for. With, I think there ended up being 11 antlerless deer out there that ended up walking within 100 yards of me. That first group came out. There was, I think it's the 4 regulars that are out there, but then there was just several more that tagged along with it. There was 3 extra ones, so a group of 7 at first. They hung up at about 140 yards, and with this muzzleloader, I wasn't going to risk that. Still had plenty of time till dark. And then while they were hung up there, 4 more came out from the woods and joined them. And once they all joined up together, they were pushing each other around a little bit, and they finally, some of them, I think the 4 regulars broke free and came down there to start feeding, and it finally pulled all the rest of them down there with them. And so I ended up having all those deer easily within 100 yards, probably within less than 70. I know that feeder is at 62. And so I picked out one of the does that wasn't one of the regulars, and I waited till she got broadside. She was probably about 66 yards away. Should be an easy chip shot with a muzzleloader. And I had a good solid rest, put it right behind her front shoulder, about halfway up the body. Squeeze the trigger. Crosshairs were exactly where I wanted them to go. The gun barely kicked, and I know exactly what the problem is. I mean, I don't know why it's happening, but I know when it does that, somehow that sabot isn't setting in there really tight, and so whenever that black powder ignites, that pressure, it doesn't push the bullet out with a lot of force. I think somehow that pressure is getting around the bullet, so the bullet leaves the gun, but it just doesn't have any velocity to speak of at all. Whenever I've shot at a target and it did that, there was one time I found the bullet sideways in the wood, the target, at 25 yards. So it just doesn't have any power whenever that happens. But we got one more day of the regular late season gun hunt, and then we have 3 more days where it's antlerless only, which honestly, don't really have any hitless bucks showing up now, so I wouldn't mind hunting during that with a muzzleloader too. And so I need to clean this thing out, just look it over real good and carefully load it back up, and hopefully I'll be back in another day or 2. I've got a pretty flexible schedule in this little gap between Christmas and New Year's, so we'll see. We'll give it another go, and whatever happens, we'll show it to you. Maybe 3rd time's the charm. But that's 2 deer, 2 misfires. Doesn't make any sense to me, but we'll keep after it. Thanks for tagging along. Well, today is the morning of Friday, December the 29th, 2023. So we made it through the 3-day Christmas hunt here in Arkansas without getting a deer on the ground with the muzzleloader. And so now we are on the private land antlerless only gun hunt. And so that's the last 3 days of the year, December 29th, 30th, and 31st. Situation wise, it's not ideal for me to hunt this evening. So I'm going out this morning for, it's probably going to be a quick hunt just before work. I still got to work today. But with it getting light so early now, I could get in, an hour-and-a-half hunt and hopefully get these deer, catch one of them at least coming out for a morning feeding time after the feeder goes off, and get something on the ground before I gotta clock in for work. We'll see. Kind of pushing the limits, but getting a little bit desperate here, if you couldn't tell. Came out here last night. It was a crazy hunt once again. Took my 3-year-old daughter with me, and I chose to pick her up early from the babysitters and bring her hunting with me because while I like being with her, she likes hunting with me. So I brought her out here, and it was just crazy. The first deer showed up as we're climbing into the deer stand, and I moved the stand that I'm hunting in now. I moved it to this spot for late season bow hunting, and we've still got 2 full months left of that, where I'll probably be spending more time out there. And so, I mean, this feeder is 28 yards from this deer stand. And somehow we managed to climb in this fiberglass stand and made all kinds of noise with the deer being less than 30 yards away. And it never spooked while we were getting set up. The construction guys finally started driving by and spooked the deer, which I was honestly thankful for because I had the window closed. We knew the deer was right there in front of us, but we weren't set up. We couldn't really do anything about it. I mean, I got set up while the deer was in front of us while we had the window closed, but it was I had my daughter on my lap and she had headphones on and she was ready for her hunting snacks, and I don't blame her for that. And so we were honestly thankful when that deer ran off. And then whenever later on in the evening, it was probably right at just before 5 o'clock, I guess, there was 3 bucks that came out, 2 spikes, fork corn, something like that, and then 1 8-pointer. I think it's the deer that I've passed up a couple times this year. And they came out and got 70, 80 yards away, maybe less than that. And I was gonna shoot that 8-pointer if he gave me the opportunity. I had gun up there, camera on him, just waiting for him to turn broadside. My daughter had to pee so bad right when the bucks walked out. So she's like, I gotta pee. And I said, well, just wait, let me shoot this deer. It should be super quick now. And so she had headphones on and she couldn't hear what I was saying anymore after that. And we were trying to whisper back and forth. And I think the deer could just tell something wasn't right. Our wind was blowing right at them too. So they kind of trotted off, weren't too spooked, but just didn't feel comfortable coming all the way into the feed. So we got out and I let her pee after that, right outside the ground blind. Got back in the stand. And once again, when we get in the stand, I look out the window, and as I'm climbing in through the back door of the stand, I look up and there's a doe at the feeder 28 yards away. Like, how in the world does this keep happening? And so again, we managed to get in there, get all settled around. I had to have to move the chairs all the way around in this stand to get the door to open up. And so it gets kind of hectic whenever we got to get in and out of the stand. And so managed to get the chairs moved around. I got sat back down. I had my daughter just standing in the corner of the stand with earmuffs on once again. And I had the hammer back ready to go. Another doe had walked out too, but I picked out the bigger one and I was ready to go, had the camera on, but they were so fidgety with the wind yesterday blowing right at them. I couldn't get the shot before they ended up walking off too. And once they got to the end of the lane, there was a few more that joined them. And so we saw at least 8 deer yesterday, possibly 11 different deer. And almost all of them came within 100 yards. Just couldn't quite make it all work out. So I'm back out this morning and we'll just see what happens. You never know unless you go out there and give it a try. I got my buddy's muzzleloader with me again that he let me borrow. And so he's really confident about it not misfiring and being dead on out to 100 yards. And I trust him with that. And so I'm just ready to put it to the test myself. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I like it when it happens like that. Those deer have been feeding all night, but that feeder went off at 7. About 7:20 I look, and a doe stepped out of the woods 15 yards from me. So then I kind of hurried to get my stuff together and to get ready for a shot. She walked towards the feeder to get a little bit farther away, and that gave me time to get all the camera stuff going and get my gun in position. She ended up, I think a squirrel spooked her at the feeder, and she ended up kind of jumping back and walking even closer to me. So she was probably right at 20 yards when I shot. I shot, the gun went off. She jumped up and kicked. I could see that through the smoke, and then hair went flying everywhere. So I know I hit her. Not sure where, but I'll get out and look for blood in just a minute. So maybe we could be done with this muzzleloader saga for the year. Alright, here's the side of the shot. Pretty sure that's some long blood around here. Just gotta figure out exactly where she went. She ran right in front of the camera. So lesson learned on that blood trail already. I was following a line of blood, but apparently that was just from the bullet exiting the body cavity at the side of the shot. Apparently it took a trail of, I think it's pieces of lung out the exit hole, and so that wasn't the way she went. Good thing I caught it early on, the first 20 feet of this trail, but I backed up and went around the way that I thought I saw her run, and now I found the actual blood trail from where she ran off. So far I got good blood already from the start, so it should be a short and easy track. Let's see what happens. Somehow I completely lost the blood trail. I just started doing a grid search, but I just found her. The saga is over. This is where the work begins, but it's hard for it to feel like work when you've been working this hard to try to get to this point.
Well, here she is. It was a crazy hunt, but finally got it done with 2 more days left in this season that I can hunt with a gun. Shot was just a touch higher than what I wanted, but we got the job done. We got on the ground, and snow is coming down pretty good right now, so it's pretty cool. Didn't get to track her in the snow, wasn't anything on the ground yet, and I think the ground's still too warm for it to stick, but just so pleased that it finally happened, and I had to borrow a buddy's gun to do it, but so thanks to Kent for that. But get by from a little help from our friends. That's how we do it. Well, I've got some work to do. I gotta get this deer skinned out, and then clock in and do some work today. But at least there's some work to do. At least we finally got another one on the ground. So thanks for joining. This has been a crazy adventure. Just trying to get a deer with a muzzleloader, even though they're just about as predictable as a regular modern rifle in this day and age. It's just, it proved to be the challenge for me for sure. Even here in Arkansas, even hunting over a feeder inside a box stand like that where we can get away with a lot, it's just still, these deer they have a sixth sense about them, and somehow they know when things aren't right, and manage to get away. But Got to thank the good Lord for blessing me with a deer today. I didn't think it was going to happen, but just the way it went down, it was just ended up being perfect. So thank you, Lord. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time when we come out here. We still got 2 months of bow hunting left to do. Deer are really starting to get back heavy on feed, and so I'm excited about it. We still got some good bucks around on a couple different properties too, and a lot of does in a lot of areas, so should still be some good hunting action for the next couple months, and we'll bring you along with us the next time we go out and have another Arkansas adventure.